All right, hello everybody. Back again. I don't know, like it's been 2 days since the last episode or something, but we're back with the technically next week of the podcast with my next matchup against AC, and I have special guest AC. Say hi to everyone.
Hi, I'm AC. I'm officially AC 27, but no one says that. If you're here when this happened, you probably know me. Actually, if you joined like recently, then you probably don't, but you'll know me now anyway, so yeah, it works.
Yeah. Sorry, give me a second. Streamlabs is taking a minute to pull this up. All right. Okay. Everyone sees the game now. We're just gonna hop in unless do you have any thoughts looking at the team preview, or do you want to just get right into the match?
I I have some thoughts, but it's like I have notes that I wrote down from beforehand, but
Hmm.
I think I'd rather watch the game happen first and then we can talk about them.
All right, sounds good. All right, so here's game one. Um, I didn't tell you before. I don't really cast them. We kind of just talk over them. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
okay, yeah. Um, yeah. So we see. I watched these beforehand. Not a good turn one for me. Um, at all. And then
Yeah,
one of the
Yeah, I
things
think the
that's
trick eject button was meant to. I think it was meant to catch. I think I was
a
expecting it to
max, right?
max.
Yeah. I was gonna say it's kind of interesting. This is like neither of us have max still. It's turn three. Like I feel like that was pretty rare. Um,
Yeah,
I think one person saving their max, it wasn't like super rare, but both maxes uh not being used this late in the game is pretty unusual.
yeah,
Um, this one's like already over though. I mean only one KO so far, but like I mean you see the three Pokemon I have. I don't think anything can kill Moltres.
yeah. I think especially with Togedemaru on the field, I think that's the main thing.
Yeah, true. I don't know why I knuckled the Togedemaru. That was an interesting decision.
Okay. Is Togedemaru normally faster than Oh, the airstream, of course, right?
Yeah, 2x speed. Yeah, so this one's done. Um, Berserk boost should give it a probably Oko from here. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, so that was game one. The only thing I have to add is like, so last match was versus Daddy, like the especially against the like very strong teams, because like Daddy's team was very strong this season, your team was very strong this season. After picking up Tapu Koko, I just got rolled by everyone. Like there, I was never really in that game. It felt like.
Like I can see that. I think the Dhelmise Max Steel Spike, if that was a crit, I think
Hmm.
that was like the main out you had into that
Yeah,
game.
that's true.
But I was like, because I don't
Yeah,
had I don't think no, yeah, Chandelure, Meowstic, Togedemaru, the Poetess was my fault. Yeah, I think if that crits, then you probably win out.
yeah,
But then
that's
that's
true.
like low percentage, so it's kind of
Yeah, and I mean, I also like dodged. I didn't get a single full power, right? So like already pretty lucky,
yeah,
and I needed
no
to be
silver.
even more lucky to win.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that I noticed is Chandelure just that strong, or is that Specs?
No, I think I have the team sheet. It was Max Special Attack Timid.
Oh, really?
But to be fair, I think Chandelure has I think it's 145 base
Yeah,
special
no,
attack.
yeah, it's 145, which is obviously
Yeah.
massive, but even still, I thought it might have been boosted. Um, all right, game two. Wait, so I just wanted to double check the lead from game one. It was
I had Meowstic Chandelure. I think it was
yeah, it
Coco
was Coco Galvantula. So
Galvantula. Okay.
I'm curious to see how I mix it up. I guess how would I mix it up now? I don't know what my different Pokemon have even, but the Chandelier was a big problem, so maybe Doug Trio is good to try to kill it. Because I don't really. I mean, I guess Terrakion can do the same thing, but I would be worried about Charm from Meowstic. Yeah, let's see.
Yeah, I think I just end up going for the same lead, I think.
Okay.
Like that'd be my assumption on my end anyway, but
Oh yeah,
we'll
so
see.
yeah,
Yeah, Cherokee Luxury.
yeah. So I bring both the things that to address the Chandelier, and then you make exact same play.
Yeah,
And
I think it makes sense. It's the safe
yeah,
play.
but I was not really prepared for the same exact play because I ended up earthquaking my own Terrakion. I do
To
get the
be fair, I
Shan.
think
Yeah,
I think that
go ahead.
was like I think you kind of expected me to eject button, but I think the switching back into Rakin was kind of where it went a bit iffy.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know that I would give myself that much credit, frankly. I thought you would charm, probably. I bet that's what I thought.
Maybe. Yeah.
But that, I mean, that play wouldn't make sense, charming. Um, again, Togedemaru and Moltres versus Delmise. I don't think that's a winning matchup, but we'll see it play out. Um, yeah, yeah. No, I mean, again, I think this one's pretty over. Let's see. Oh yeah, no, Fiery Wrath can't miss. So yeah, it's over.
Yeah.
All right. So that was the match. Just, I think somehow not as much of a rolling as versus Daddy, probably, but still not a close set at all, right?
Yeah, I think it's like because I think because because to be fair, like I am very much like a I always think about like worst case situation,
Hmm.
and it's like because I think there was like times in both of those games where it's like if something like if there's like one crit or if I misplay one turn, you do have a way back in. But
Yeah,
I think overall both of those games were kind of like I think the turn ones were kind of you would fall behind and you
yeah,
keep up, but you couldn't really keep make up the distance. I think
yeah.
that's the main.
That's true. I was surprised by how low Togedemaru and Goldtrace were at the end of game one, actually. 'Cause like in theory, it wasn't actually that far at the end, but it felt comfortable. Like at least as the opponent, it felt like you were comfortable the whole time. I don't know if that makes sense.
No,
Oh,
yeah, I get
I
it.
got the standings.
Yeah, yeah, I managed to send them.
Oh wait, I don't
This
need
is
this.
before the game.
Yeah. So I'll read these in a second, or I can show them maybe. Whatever. Um, yeah. So I like it. The result is that it wasn't like super far, but I think in I it was basically never in doubt. Like yes, there was like a crit out, but that's so marginal that um I don't think it's like a super big deal just because like yeah you lose that game like maybe 12% of the time or something like that. Um,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that's
It's one of those where it's like there's it's like a 90% of the time like one the result happens, but there
mhm,
are times where it's like you know there's like one crit or like one like change in targeting, and
yeah.
then the set ends up going to game three, and who knows what happens then.
Yeah, I just felt like um I don't know, at least from my perspective it felt pretty dominant from you. Um and then the other thing that I noticed like bigger picture was that I maxed Delmise in both games into a max gold race without Trick Room and without like any support really at all. Like no I guess I got coaching the first game. Uh but that was it. I got one coaching off. And this was the third week that I have Koko, and each week I've just sort of maxed Delmise because I've fallen behind so quickly with Koko in lead that I just need to like max something, and it's always maxed out of position, and actually does pretty well for itself, but it's just like way too little, too late. Um, and that's literally happened 3 weeks straight now, which is pretty embarrassing.
Yeah, I think the maxing out position thing is probably the most like prominent thing. Because I feel
Yeah,
like in both of the games it was kind of I don't know if your plans were like to max maybe like Koko or Tarakin each game, but like both of the time they kind of felt like you got into positions where it was like I think game one there was a time that was like one time where you could have either maxed Delmise or Tarakian,
yeah,
and I based my Meowstic had to charm one of them. But game two especially it felt kind of like the Tarakian, especially like with the earthquake switching, like it takes
yeah,
too much chip.
yeah,
And then it's a position where it's like I don't want to max Delmise, but you know, Tarakian's at half health.
yeah,
Everything else is either doesn't do enough damage or it takes too much from ultras immediately. And I,
yeah,
I assume it was AV Delmise. But like Delmise is like the one Pokemon where it's like it isn't going to fold instantly.
yeah,
So it's pretty much I have to max that Pokemon at that point.
yeah, and I can't super remember matches specifically, but I've definitely felt that with Delmise at the time that it was like not my max target, but I felt like I had to max it because the lead went poorly, or the other max option was subdued in some way. Um, and I think that type of uh, not strat because it's not strategy. That type of like outcome has been pretty um, just like evident in the matches so far.
Yeah,
Uh,
I think that's true. I
yeah.
mean, I think we'll talk about it more in depth later, but like I have like very strong opinions on Koko because I was the person who originally
Hmm.
drafted Koko
Yeah.
before I never see dropping it.
Yeah.
But I didn't like 'cause I only ended up having it for two games, but
Yeah.
both of those sets or for two sets, both of those sets, it felt like it was one of those Pokemon where it's like, in theory, this works really well, but you get into an in-game situation and kind of like, hmm. I don't think if I max this, I don't think it's going to work. I
Yeah.
need to switch up my plan or my strategy somehow. And like it also like it does depend on everything else. Like for you, end up having to be, oh, Koko isn't going to work. I need to use Delmise. For
Yeah.
me, I think, I think I did it week one. Like, I think it was against Daddy. I maxed Koko. I think game one, I maxed Koko one, like turn one, and then immediately switched it out because otherwise it was gonna
Yeah.
die, which is not really something you want to do,
No, definitely not.
especially when it's like if it's your S tier and you're maxing it, then it's like you want to get value out of it and not
Yeah.
just be in like catch 22 positions where it's
Yeah.
like either way you don't like the outcome.
Yeah. No, that's actually like exactly what I was gonna ask next was what sort of having Coco for those first two, and you drafted it very high, right? Like fourth overall or something like that.
I Yeah, I think it was it was third or fourth overall, but it was my first pick.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. So I guess so. I had a probably well, I had a similar but different experience with Coco. Similar in the sense that at least based off where you drafted it, it seems like we were both high on it and then ended up being disappointed with it. But you got off of it quickly and went on to have a good season. I was having a good season and then picked it up and tanked my season. So
Yeah, well, oh yeah, continue.
yeah, no,
Continue.
I just wanted to like since I sort of went off on a tangent, just repeat like what was the Coco experience like? So I guess you can start like what did you see in it when you drafted it, and then how did you go from that, and then in only 2 weeks realizing you wanted to get rid of it.
Okay. So the funniest thing, to be
Hmm.
honest, about the whole Coco draft
Hmm.
is that Coco wasn't actually like the main like idea in my mind because I think this was during I think Series 7 in Sword and Shield, which is like the Crown Tundra when it just dropped.
Yeah, I
But
think so.
I think it was a few months in, like we had played it like quite a bit, And so I was just so pretty much I was just like any random idea I came up with, I just like, yeah, let me make a team of that. Let me throw it in. Let's see how
Yeah.
it does.
Yeah.
And at some point I ended up having it was Tapu Koko, a load of Ninetales, and Arctozolt.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I in my mind I had this idea of because Arctozolt with Bolt Beat,
Mhm.
which is essentially just like electric vicious rend,
Yeah.
that does insane damage. With
Mhm.
electric terrain you can boost the damage. With Ninetales you can speed up Arctozolt. And it was like I was on ladder and it was doing well.
Mhm.
And I was like, yeah, this might actually work. But if
Yeah.
I and then I was like, I thought about it and was like, which is most likely to get drafted? Is it Koko or is it Ninetales? I didn't think Arctozolt was. I don't think anyone really knew about Arctozolt at that point.
Yeah. Yeah.
So my thought process was, okay, I'll get Koko first, and I think I got Ninetales second or maybe Volcarona. One of those two.
Yeah, I can double check.
Oh yeah, you
Uh,
have the draft thing.
yeah, let me pull it
I don't
up.
know. I don't remember which order I got them in.
Thank you again to Dr. JDB for making the archive. Okay. Draft is here. Um, all right. Your round two pick was Ninetales.
Yeah, it was okay. I got. Yeah, I
Yeah.
got
And then third
Coco.
was
Then
Volcarona.
yeah, okay. That also checks out. Yeah, it is. Yeah, now that I thought about it, it's awful that I traded out two of my first three draft picks. I think I don't know if it's a good thing that I traded them out early or if it's a bad thing, but yeah. So I think yeah. What was I gonna say?
I mean, I think it's a good thing because it shows that you like realized that they weren't good quickly. Like, I think at least at this point, I think by the end of the season, I knew Koko wasn't it. But like after this match, I think I was still thinking that Koko was good. And this is already more matches with Koko than you played with it.
Oh yeah, yeah. Okay. Cause oh yeah, cause I had the whole like a hail the Hale team was
Hmm.
like the main four, and I also drafted Inteleon G-Max
Yeah.
because I wanted a water type that could max, but that didn't replace the Hale. I
Yeah.
remember this, and it also got. Did I draft it? I feel like I drafted it very
Let's
early as
see.
well.
I'll check.
I don't know if you can pull it
Um,
up.
Inteleon. You got it round 5. Yeah.
Yeah, that's quite early actually.
Yeah.
Because if it's Coco, Ninetales, and
Koko,
Volcarona, then
Ninetales. Yeah, it's Koko, Ninetales, Volcarona, Meowstic, Inteleon.
okay, okay. Yeah, I think what's that? Three of them all was out of my team by week 4.
Yeah.
Or might have been week 3 actually, but week 4 they
No,
are
no, it
definitely
would have
out of
been
my
week
team.
3. It would have been week 3 because I know I
No,
played two with Feeney.
no, I mean I think Volcarona. I think I had to wait a week because nobody wanted it, but I had to
Oh,
like
okay.
go a tier down, which is I, honestly my season 2 team was very scuffed for how good it ended up being,
Yeah.
which I think is good in like a I end up having pieces for a really good team, but bad
Hmm.
in the sense that pretty much half of it was not planned.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Well,
I think.
yeah,
Oh,
go
yeah,
ahead.
go on.
No, you go.
Because week 1, I remember I played Daddy because he had Rain, and I was like, oh, I
Hmm.
have Coco, I have Ninetales, I have Arcto, so this should be like a simple matchup.
Yeah.
But it was way harder than you'd expect it to be,
Yeah.
considering like I would say like the matchup would be in my favor because
Yeah.
his team relies on it more than mine, and my
Hmm.
team kind of matches up naturally, kind of better into his.
Yeah.
But it
Electric and
was
yeah.
yeah, like it was a lot harder than I feel
Hmm.
like it should have been. And at that point, it's kind of that's a bit like it's kind of you look at it and it's a bit that was a bit harder than it should have been, but we got the win anyway, so it's
Yeah.
fine. And then I played Tom, who had I was Tyranitar. It was Tyranitar Togepi, which are
Yeah.
like the main two.
Mhm.
I don't remember what the rest of the team was. But I remember those were the main two that gave me issues, and that was the game where it was just like everything went wrong basically. Whereas like, oh, I think I can like, well, I thought I had a game plan. I
Mhm.
get into the battle, and I was like, ah, this isn't as going the way I thought it would.
Yeah.
Just I think it was only if it was like a 2-1 loss, but the losses were very polarizing. I guess it was
Yeah.
like it was decisive. That's the word for me.
Yeah,
And then yeah,
yeah, go ahead.
and
No, no,
then
go ahead.
uh, my next two games were
Mhm.
it was Bohm and Nelly Boy, and I looked
Yeah.
at my team and I immediately just said we can't win this. It
Yeah.
was just like I think it was because Bohm's team was already just disgusting because
Yeah,
it
it
was basically
was
Sun shit for him.
yeah, it was Sun, um Psychic Duo and
Yeah,
Gigalith and Rabombi. That was basically the team.
yeah, yeah. I looked at that team and I was like, these mons are not beating it. And I looked at Nelly Boy's team and his was more simple because it's literally just he has Regieleki.
Yeah.
Nothing on my team takes a hit from it outside of like
Yeah.
Tapu Koko, and you don't want to give him terrain.
No.
So I think that was the point where I said, yeah, you know what, finish the experiment. This isn't working. Let me use something. I don't know what was still on the board at that point, but I
Must have
remember.
been Moltres or no?
No, I was like, I know that was on. I know I took that. I don't know what else was on the board,
Oh,
but
um, not very much. Because I remember when I drafted Feeney, I remember um I was going to draft it, but I waited like a round or two longer because there were like not a lot of S tiers left.
yeah, but
Um, I don't think we have the board. I think that's in the
yeah,
DLNL archives.
that's one for everyone who has a good enough memory to remember that. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think I took Moltres like that one because like it was the one I was most comfortable with playing with if
Yeah.
on ladder. And then what else did I take? I took Indeedee because I was like, oh, psychic terrain. I can click expanding force with Feeble,
Yeah.
which is kind of another part of the my team wasn't really planned, but it ended up working together quite
Mhm.
well because you could just lead in DD Feeble sometimes,
Mhm.
expanding force faked his a few times, then
Yeah.
Moltres comes in, and then you can support it with whatever. I had just looking at my team now, I had toxicity for I think less than a week because I think I drafted it and I traded it with
Grace?
um no I traded with some Alexa. I remember right. I think I traded with like our Alexa
Yeah.
with like for Chandelure. And I think she
Oh.
dropped like a week afterwards, which is
Yeah, she dropped
really
quickly.
funny to me.
Yeah,
Purely off of the timing.
she dropped really quickly after I think after Braff sweeped with a Klefki.
Yeah, yeah. I think that was just like very soon after I traded Chandelure. So it was
Yeah.
one of those things where it's like if I had waited like a week later, I don't think I would have been able to get Chandelure. And I
Yeah,
think
Chandelore's
Chandelure
really good.
was definitely like obviously I am very biased. It's like my top
Yeah.
three favorite Pokemon, but like I
Yeah.
do think it actually was one of the more underrated Pokemon for my team because
Yeah.
it's one of those because it's like Indeed in the sense that it can do a ton of damage and it doesn't need to Dynamax, which
Yeah.
I think was one of like the more important, like which is like a really important thing, especially in this
Yeah.
kind of format where it's like you have your S tier, which like to max, so
Mhm.
everything else needs to be stuff that is good without max and can function in max. I don't think I have a max on the law, but I imagine it probably
Yeah.
works in theory.
I mean, it
And
dominated
then
the game we just watched. It was really, really good.
yeah, yeah, like that's what it's also like 145 stacks that you can kind of you don't need to invest. You don't need like specs or life or which is overkill. You just slap
Mhm.
scarf on it and it
Mhm.
outspeeds stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and then I know what. Oh, then I got Togedemaru. I had to
Hmm.
drop a tier for Volcarona, but it was worth it, so I didn't use Regieleki. But yeah, I think, I think that is the main thing is about the construction of my team and how it somehow ended up the way it did.
Yeah, and I mean I think that's really interesting because like Bohm and I talked about um, moves and like once well first of all it's hard to figure out that you want to make a transaction quickly enough for it to matter, which you definitely did. Like you started making moves in week two, you dropped your S tier. Um, so you were making big moves early. And then also we were talking about like, well, what do you want when you're trading out? You do want to like preserve some um, qualities of the Pokemon you're dropping sometimes. Like especially if you build your team around um, Koko in the first place, like you're gonna have, for instance, like you said, terrain synergies. So you picked up another terrain setter with Indeedee, which I think is like a really good example of how you can sort of use moves that don't mess with the synergy that you did intend. Um,
Yeah, I think that's also because it was Crown Tundra as well.
mhm.
There's a lot more stuff that's just generally available.
Yeah, yeah,
Because I remember in Daddy Plan Part Two, which was I think that would have been like what 170, 60 odd Pokemon taken away
yeah.
from like the normal decks. I wanted to make changes in like week. Like I know from the off I didn't like my team,
Hmm.
but I think it was like week 3 or 4 when I was like, okay, what can I change here? And I think the only Pokemon I even wanted to consider was like Scrafty.
Hmm.
But as I was trying to like think about like how I wanted to sort my team around, someone like traded in for their team, and I was literally just like, okay, well, what am I gonna do now? Because
Yeah,
the board is just so limited that nothing else is really like I already don't like what I have on me right now, but
yeah,
there's nothing else that really seems like that much of an improvement. And I
yeah.
think I ended up getting like Luxray and Kingler, which is just
Grim.
like they're not bad Pokemon, but it's like
They're not great.
it's not really what you want. Yeah,
No. Yeah, and I mean that's another thing that we've talked about with like Gen 9 since we don't have that expanded dex yet. The
yeah,
Even if you want to make a transaction, it's still hard to because there are good Pokemon just sitting around on the board, but they don't necessarily fit what you want. Um,
yeah,
yeah. And then the other thing was you mentioned like Koko versus Daddy, and that definitely resonates with me because I also just saw like, oh, Koko, Electric Fairy versus the Rain team with Hydreigon. Like it should be perfect. Should be the ideal Koko matchup. And then Kingdra just one shots it. Just one shots it. Um, the issue with Koko is that it's pretty frail. Um, it is definitely fast. Um, but I guess at the time I thought 115 attack with terrain boost was strong. It's not strong. That's the biggest like um, way that it fell short for me. It's just so not strong because either you're taking advantage of 115 and um, the 115 attack in terrain, but then you only have one stab. You only have the electric because there's no physical fairy moves on it. So then you're using
yeah,
like U-turn Iron Head, um, or like Fly if you're maxed. Um, So you're using a bunch of like non-stab, and it's not terrain boosted off a 115 attack, which is weak. Like those are not strong max moves. Um, and then if you're going special, you do have a second stab, but you're working with a 95 special attack. So I think I think it might be good without max because it's a good choice user. Like specs, Electro Web sets are good, stuff like that. like I don't know, specs with Electro Web, Dazzling Gleam, Thunderbolt Volt Switch or something like that could be good now. And that was probably even the best way to use it during max, but I basically, because of how my team was constructed, I needed that slot to be a max attacker. Um, and Feeney was able to do that, but then when I dropped Feeney for Koko, it threw the whole team out of whack. So I think it's sort of opposite ends of the like transaction spectrum.
Yeah. To be honest, I think a lot of my Pokemon kind of suffered from they'd be great without Max. I think
Yeah,
Volt like well maybe less without Max, more so with Terra.
yeah.
Because especially something like Koko, you can actually like, Terra Blast physically now. You can turn into Fairy, just Terra Blast Fairy. You
Hmm.
have a physical attack now.
Yeah,
Even something like Volcarona as well, which is like another one where it's like I drafted it for redirection. I think I had I think I had to always put resist berries because it
yeah,
has because it's got one of those weird typings where it's like I feel like it's very good like neutrally into a lot of stuff.
yeah,
But the weakness is it has a very like like it's like water flying on rock,
yeah.
especially in Max is like all typings where it's like
Hmm.
yeah they'll probably have like a like their Max attack is probably gonna have like flying if it's like most mons have like a water coverage move or a rock slide.
Yeah.
There's one of
Well,
those mons where it's like
yeah. Go
you
ahead.
know like it's one of those mons where it's like it's an in theory Pokemon
Hmm.
like oh, in theory, this does really well, but in practice, it just really crumbles. And actually, I think this also falls on the for like Ninetales, which I mean, Ninetales is another Pokemon where it's like, oh yeah, I can bring it into the other matchup, it'll be fine. But it ties to everything's the main issue. So it either
I'm
needs Sash
I'm excited to
or
see it in
it's
Gen 9. I'm sorry, I needed
hmm?
to butt in. As the resident Ninetales fan, I need to say I'm excited to see it in Gen 9. But that's it. That's it.
Yeah, low key Gen 9 Ninetales. I think it could be good just like in draft and on like in normal VGC.
I think it will
Like
have
I
an actual niche in VGC now. Yeah,
yeah,
because
like
it's like fast enough, and the defense boost is really big for it. Like it actually should be really big for it because it's especially not bulky, but its issue is on obviously the physical side, 73 HP, 75 defense. Um, I don't know. Could do some stuff. Could do some
I
stuff.
mean like people use the bomber snow
Yeah.
and grass ice is like a monumentally worse typing
Yeah.
like offensively and kind of defensively than
Yeah,
Ice Fairy.
and it's
So
slower too. Like way slower.
yeah, so, I mean I can imagine like Alolan Ninetales Iron Bundle specs. You just click Blizzards and it's like
Yeah.
weave in some support moves in the middle, but
Yeah. I think that the only issue is that since it's not already in the game, it's only going to be in formats that are really high power level. So it's probably not going to be like more than anything, I think the speed is going to be an issue because whenever it's legal, like 109 speed actually isn't going to be that fast. Um,
I think because I know it's going to be in one of the DLCs. I don't know if it's the first one or the second, but if it's in the first DLC, then I
maybe.
assume there wouldn't be like stuff like Cartana or
Yeah. But
or
like even
like
I don't
other
know,
tappies.
even
Where
we
it's
already
like
have like Fluttermane. Like Fluttermane is Fluttermane might OHKO it with like um
no
a
shot.
Terra boosted move. It might. Let's see. Like
Um, I want to calc this
I'm
actually.
gonna calc Terra Fairy, um, timid Terra Fairy Moonblast. That's what I'm gonna calc.
Yeah, because I feel like Ninetales it should have like special boxes that are new to it.
It's yeah, 73 HP, 100 special defense. So it's like not frail, but I wouldn't call it bulky either necessarily. All right, let's see. Oh no, it's not particularly close.
Okay.
252
Wait,
special attack, timid, Terra Fairy, Flutter Mane, Moonblast versus an uninvested Ninetales does 75 to 90%.
yeah, okay. So you do. I mean, it's not comfortable, I guess, but like
No,
you
it's
do
not.
live it.
Yeah.
Like you always live it outside of like crits and stuff. So it's like,
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just thinking what else is like fast and strong. There's definitely something that
I
there's definitely
mean,
something pretty meta that can just knock it out very
if I'm
easily.
looking like right now, like in terms of like faster Pokemon that are like actual like notable, there's like what Regieleki, I guess, is kind of an issue. Less of damage is more so Electro Web.
Oh,
Other
actually,
than that,
honestly, I was gonna say mouse hold, but with the defense boost, mouse hold probably. Let's see, technician boosted. Um,
I, I, don't,
I don't
I
think it
think it
will
may.
kill. I think it'll live. Technician boosted, pop bomb. I'm just kind of curious actually, how much
Yeah.
this does. Um, oh no,
What?
it's a guaranteed outcome.
Oh my god.
Barely, barely. 252 attack, technician mouse hold, 10 hits. Um, versus to be fair, zero investment. Ninetales is
But is it in snow?
108% mineral.
But is it in snow?
Yeah, it's in snow.
Oh yes. Okay, never mind.
Out of snow, it's 162% mineral.
Yeesh. Yeah, that's tough.
So if you like if you Terra um fire and snow is I guess snow wouldn't matter anyway.
Yeah.
Um you still die.
Yeah, that is. Yeah.
Oh wait, yeah, wait. Ice doesn't this isn't super I don't know why I was doing the typing. The typing doesn't matter. Um yeah. So that's Ninetales. Sorry, that was a Ninetales tangent. I like Ninetales.
No, no, no. It's important. We got to discuss these things for the future.
That's true. Um I guess uh I think we can, unless you have any other thoughts about this match or your season two that you want to share, I think we can start wrapping up. And I have a fun idea to wrap up with related to Ninetales, but I'll give you a moment if you have anything to add about the match.
No, I think we've covered
We've
everything. Oh
covered
yeah, I
it.
was gonna say like
Hmm.
I know the one thing I was gonna say is like because I managed to find out some of the notes I wrote
Hmm.
for
Yeah.
like plans and stuff, and it's like I have a lot of I have like a lot of leads that are like planned. I had like a lot of like written leads, like stuff that I'd planned out, and I
Yeah.
don't think you ended up going for any of them, which is very funny to me.
Yeah.
But I think I was always planning to just lead Meowstic Chandelure outside of like if I wanted to try do Trick Room with Copperaja,
Yeah.
which was always one of those things where it's like I think I only ever used it like twice,
Yeah.
but it's kind of I think it's the best example of like a low tier Uh, I remember I think you were talking this with Daddy, I think it was, where it's like well you want a low tier that it doesn't always come to a game, but it actually has like a genuine role to fill,
Hmm.
which is kind of what I had with Copperaja, where it was like it didn't always come to games, but when
Hmm.
it did, it was so that I could have an option either to fight in Trick Room or to counter someone else's Trick Room.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah,
I
and
think that's
I think that's like the best way to deal with the low tiers.
yeah.
Yeah. And
Well, and
cop
to be
I've
honest,
had yeah.
no, to be honest, even looking at a lot of my teams, I have a lot of like tier fours that just don't come to games. So maybe I should listen to my own advice.
Yeah, and then just to leave us off, just because I was thinking, I don't know, this came into my mind when we were talking about the Ninetales. Um, is there any Pokemon not in Gen 9 yet that you're excited to see with either like Terra or just maybe not in Max or because of some new mechanic, like obviously Ninetales Snow,
Hmm,
putting you on the spot a
Pokemon
little.
excited to see. Um, I mean, to be honest, the first thing I would have said is actually Coco, purely just
Koko,
like
yeah,
Coco, Coco mainly in the out of max situation where it's like, because I think I used Coco during on ladder during I think it was series 10 when it was one restricted and no Dynamax,
yeah,
and I like that team I enjoyed it. I mean, and it's like obviously I didn't really like the format to be honest, but the team
hmm,
itself was like one thing with those was like yeah, maybe I like the format. I like playing the team. I can load up like a showdown game and just have some fun with it. So
yeah,
I think Coco without Max is gonna be great. I think it's gonna be kind of interesting with like its interaction with the paradoxes
yeah,
because there's the whole thing of like boosting like your own bundle speed or an Iron Hands attack.
yeah,
But then you also like you're always gonna have to be aware of okay, what what future paradoxes does my opponent have?
hmm,
Which I think that's like an interesting dynamic there is.
yeah, for
And
sure.
what there was another Pokemon that I was like that I was thinking about with Terra, but I cannot remember which it was. I remember like I was like having a thought about it, but
All right, if you want
I
to
mean
keep
maybe
thinking, okay, go ahead.
I mean not really with Terra specifically. I just want to see it in the game, but like Chandelure is
Mhm.
like
Yeah,
I think I've mentioned before. It's like top three favorite Pokemon. I think
hmm,
Chandelure's like a interesting Pokemon because mainly because it's a Flash Fire Pokemon
yeah,
and like if like I've been obviously I've been playing a lot of Regulation D, and I think my least favorite matchup is like Lilycole and like the whole Sun
yeah,
Trickle
yeah,
archetype. So it's just like I think I was looking at like you know like when you have like five Pokemon in a team and it's great, but you need one Pokemon to fix a matchup.
yeah,
Like I was looking into that like for a ton of time. I think I'm trying to use Glamour in that slot, which is pure desperation on my part. But I was looking at it, I was like, I wonder what if we had more Flash Fire Pokemon in this format. And like
yeah,
Chandelure would be great because you're immune to grass, you're immune to fighting, you're immune to fire, or you know, you resist grass. Sorry,
yeah,
from Hisuian Lilligant. You're immune to fire because of Flash Fire, you're immune to fighting, and like the only thing you have to kind of be scared of is like Torkoal Earth Power.
yeah,
And to be honest, I don't actually think that KOs. So,
yeah. And I
you
mean,
know,
Grass
hopefully,
Terra on that would be really good because it's not like they're
yeah.
gonna if they read the fighting into the Grass Terra, you know, they deserve that. Like,
I mean,
eh,
I mean, it's still there. You just heat wave anyway,
yeah,
and it's
yeah,
like they'll do what 50. I think I might actually need to count this. I'd assume it wouldn't actually do that much. Yeah, even if they called the terror, but it's like I'm just gonna calc Terra Grass Chandelure versus Hisuian Lilig.
yeah.
Oh, it does. Oh, that's 70. That's 71 to 85. Never mind.
Oh,
But
no, but it lives. It lives.
yeah, it lives. You know, we take it. We'll take it.
Yeah.
But
Um.
like, yeah, that was probably the main thing. That's like, I just want it because I think Lilycole. Like, this is ironic as someone who used like Venus or Groudon a lot,
Yeah.
but I think like Lilycole stuff is probably my least favorite thing to face.
Yeah. Same probably. I
Just
just
purely
use.
because of the turn one. What are they gonna do? Even in open team
Yeah.
sheets.
No, I just use like um now in the current format Regulation D. I just use like Thunderous or Tornadus with taunt on every team, like specifically for that, and then I don't know Rock or Ground move for Torkoal just to like at least stop. Ideally kill it, but at least stop Eruption from just like massacring me.
Yeah, because I've been thinking about that, but like the issue that I've had is like I think I mentioned this like the really season channel, but like I played in a tournament,
Yeah.
like an online one, and I think I played back to back. I played Fast
Yeah.
Sun with like Torko Jump Off and then Chi Yu Fluttermane,
Yeah.
which
It's so
was
annoying.
that was awful. And then I immediately played it was Indeedee Armor Rouge, Lilycole. Barcelona and Farigarath, and that the Farigarath plus Indeedee is just what I want to use prankster moves, and it's like yeah, that's not gonna work. So
But
so
but
in my mind that's like okay, how would I beat that in theory? And a lot of it is kind of
Flashfire
just
Arcanine.
if I get what?
Flashfire Arcanine Hisui. Spam Rock Slide.
You know what? If I get the flinches, then I probably win the game. Actually, I hear it.
Yeah, you gotta fight toxicity
Oh,
with toxicity.
oh wait, but I mean, now that I think about it, why God Rouge exists, but I'm gonna worry about that when it comes when I get to it.
Yeah.
Like we could probably get to it now, or purely just worrying about the Liverpool matchup, but it's whatever.
Yeah. Well, I guess the one that I'll shout out that I want to see in Gen 9 is Alchemy because we didn't really get to see Decorate without Max.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
hopefully it can have a little more survivability, get off and Decorate um, onto some, and we have some very chunky Pokemon. Like I don't know if you landed Decorate on like Hisui Gudra, that's gonna be a problem. It's gonna be a big problem.
Yeah, because now I think about like when was alchemy ever used? I think it was
Not
like
really.
early Sword and Shield
We
with
didn't
like
even really
Lapras
use it in
and
VBL-S that much. It got very little run in our drafts.
did anyone draft it?
Steve had it. Steve had it to his what's it called? Uh Shedinja team. He had a
Oh right, right.
Alchemy.
Yeah, yeah, because now I think about it, it's like in draft I don't really have any recollection of it to be honest.
Yeah, it was too slow. It was too
It
slow
does
and like it was a weird
it's like
spot in Max.
it's like base 70 speed or something. It's like that really awkward
64.
here.
64.
60, yeah, that's even worse.
Yeah, I typically say like 60 or 70 is the worst, or 50. Actually, 50 is probably the worst. But like I don't usually go as granular as like between the tens. 64 is like actually basically as bad as you can get.
Because 64 basically forces you to either like you have to either do guessing games on how fast you are, or you
Yeah.
have to kind of like take a turn to try figure out, and it's like sometimes it kind of doesn't work.
Yeah, I mean you can't even like what's the fastest thing that you can outscarf? Probably not even that fast, right?
I I want to say it's like
I don't know.
120 maybe. I'm gonna
120?
check this right.
No, it's less than that.
Hold on. I'm gonna
Is it?
like timid alchemy hits 127 with
One two
scarf, but it hits 190 like speed stat. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, one
That's slower than Talonflame. I don't. Let me actually.
yeah.
It's you
I don't know how to
speed
do the
tie with.
calculation.
No, I just like put it in manually. Like
Oh, okay,
it
gotcha.
speed ties base 121, which is like what?
Yeah, I mean that's fast, but you're gonna
It's
play stuff
torn
faster than that
like
on ladder.
Tornadus Therian,
Yeah.
which is like that's all right, but like I mean like
You're
let alone this
scarfed.
prankster Pokemon
Yeah.
like Meowscarada, Talonflame, Spectria, Flutter, Dragapult,
Yeah.
Chinpo, like
But I think
it's,
it not being O-code by max moves is gonna be so big for it because um 65 121 special bulk is actually really good. 65 75 physical bulk is bad, but without max moves, you can probably EV to live stuff or live enough stuff and get a decorate or two off.
but yeah, it has Sweet Veil as well. That's an ability that just nothing either nothing good has or nothing wants to run it.
Same thing with Aroma Veil. Aroma Veil is also good.
Is, is it signature or is it like
It's
no Aromatisse has it
no,
as well,
yeah,
right?
Aromatisse has it and the pigs have it. What are they called? Or one of the pigs. Oinkalone female.
Oh yeah, okay. And,
Yeah. Let
and
me see what has it currently.
Daxon has it as well.
Oh, apparently. Oh, I actually didn't know
I
that.
mean,
Okay,
well,
Daxpun's
to
better
be
than I
fair,
thought.
yeah, no, I mean, no one act like because it's always just well baked body pretty much half the time, isn't it? So
Yeah, but
it makes sense it never come up. But
uh,
that's probably
actually,
potential there.
wait. Okay, wait. Actually, Dax Fun might have to. I might have to add that to my draft list.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
should we cut the conversation here?
We get
I don't wanna
we
leak your plans or
we
anything.
don't need to cut the conversation, but we are at about 50 minutes, so I might
Oh,
just
are
cut off
we?
here. Yeah, time flies. Um,
Yeah, bro.
yeah. Well, goodbye to the audience.